Haven't really seen anyone do a comparison of the MT3, the CAT, and the MA. So what I picked up was the this. I started with the drop BIP MT3 extended set, and I thought it looked really gorgeous. But in practice, I found that the color was kind of not really that great, and the font is actually not the same as on the Mac keyboard. So it's supposed to be a Mac-like set. Maybe they had to do that so they would be different. I don't know. But we're going to look at the drop MT3 in some detail, and then we'll look at the CAT Alpha, which is similar and pretty nice. And then most recently, I just got this MA set in black, and we're going to look at that as well. So let's jump into it. So as I said, I was working on some boards here, and I thought, okay, this is a good chance to make a video because I haven't seen anyone else make a video. So this actually might be kind of a long one, but let's just start with the. This is the MT3 profile. So here's how this actually looks in person. And you can see it's not as shiny as it is in the video or in the on the website. It's fairly nice. The profile is actually really pretty cool. It's subtle. It's scooped. So that's a really good idea of what the MT3 profile is like. And this is a board that I just had these on for now. So what I'm doing right now is I was going to put this MA set, which you see down here. I was going to put this MA set on my GMMK Pro, and while I was at it, right now I have some Aqua Blues on here. I was going to switch those out for the Aqua Greens, which I believe are a little bit heavier. So I'm going to grab a keycap puller. And maybe I'll edit this, maybe I won't. So for the moment, what I'm doing is I'm just pulling the switches. And we're going to replace the switches with the greens. And then we're going to put the MT3s on. I got about halfway through putting these MT3s on before I decided that I wanted to switch out the blues for the greens. These are the containers that all of these keycap sets came in. They're fine. They're nice to have. Not having them is definitely kind of a drag. Okay, where were we? Right, pulling keycaps. So now that we have a couple rows out, let's put these MT3s back. And I mean, I thought I would just be completely in love with this MT3 form factor, and it's really nice. I mean, it really is. The material is nice, heavy PBT, decent wall thickness. This is the MA, which is the cheapie that you can get from AliExpress. And if you just compare the size there, it's hard to see. Comparing the size, we're definitely thicker on the MT3. So the MT3 is definitely a nicer keycap. This is really just a comparison, not so much to pitch for the MAs being great, but just so you can compare to something that's like, $35 for a set versus, I guess, like $130 after you get the alpha set and the modifiers. And you really have to do that if you're going with the MT3s. You can't just get the alphas because you're going to need modifiers. So definitely a pricey habit. We can see right here, these are two different rows, and you can see that they're a very different profile. This is the function row on the right, and then the row below it on the left. And I can also see that I'm already starting to mess up the order of the keys in here. One thing I really do like is the legends on these guys. The legends are pretty groovy. By that, I don't just mean the font. I mean the kind of the symbols that they use. However, you know, if they're trying to copy the Mac keyboard, the symbols are not actually the same as they are on the Mac keyboard, which is, I don't know, I guess it's kind of disappointing. It's like when you're going to pay that much, you really want to get something that you really love. I can't say that I really love them. Okay, we'll put away one more row here. And I'm noticing now this row that I'm working with now, I'm sorry, I don't know which row number it is. It's actually, oh wait, no, I'm putting the wrong keys in here. And obviously you can tell now, on the bottom we have the cats, and on the top, the MT3s. One thing I really like about the cats is the font is just heavy duty on there. And really, these cats are going to be going back in a box too, but while I had them out, I wanted to show you all of them in comparison. And just for another comparison, let's take the one. The cats are much skinny, much less deep. So there's the cat versus the MT3. The cat's going to have a bigger, sort of more surface area. MT3 is a little more rounded. The MT3 is definitely more sophisticated. Cat is much closer to like a DSA. You can see it's a little more rounded. They're both pretty rounded. And these are both, you know, very premium caps, right? The cats I think are a little cheaper, but you're still talking, you know, 3 digits for your keycaps. Okay, so let's stop making this mistake. Now I'm going to go back to pulling the rest of these caps. Okay, so that's the MT3 set, and we just pulled all those keys off. There's another box that comes with the set, which is right over here. So if you get the alphas and the legends, you get something that looks more or less like that, and then you also get a set of legends that look like this. So for now, we'll set these both aside. And let's get back to the task at hand here. So these are Akko green switches, And then in the GMMK Pro, we've got Akko Blues. And what I'm doing now is switching out the blues for the greens. We're also going to be switching out the cats for the M3s. So to move forward, I think what I'll do is come over here and keep switching the... Let's take out the rest of the blues first. So we'll get our puller for that. Okay, so now that we're here, let's go ahead and take a few of these Akko greens out. And they're not really called green. They've got some name that's, more specific. I'm just going to pull a few of them right away and then put them in all at once, because this is not a particularly ergonomic way to go about it. I've heard these jewelry, these IC pullers being recommended for this, and they work fairly well, but it is a little tricky. I find that the edges of the keycap puller, the switch puller, I could probably straighten those out with the pliers, and I bet that it would grab a little bit better. In fact, why don't we do that? So I'm just going to take a regular pliers, just kind of straighten out the tip a little bit. That's not quite enough. Okay, well, this is not going quite as elegantly as I thought, but that should be a little bit better. And if we could get focus, you'd be able to see that it's a little bit more of a straight edge. Maybe I overdid that. Anyway, let's see how it goes. Yeah, it's working. Okay, I'm just going to buzz down and pull out a couple rows of these. Alright, so we got a row of them out. On this board down here, I think this is some kind of EPO maker. Yeah, I'm gonna make you read it upside down. Some kind of EPO maker, EP84. It's wired, but RGB. This guy's got north-facing LEDs, and the GMMK Pro, as you know, has south-facing LEDs. And they're both hot swaps, so we can do this nifty thing here where we switch the switches. And I think I'll just go ahead and finish switching these switches. Okay, so this is probably a good time to talk about the Akko Blues versus the Akko Greens. I think what I'm going to do on this board is pull out these last two rows of blues and replace them with greens and run this board with a mixture, because I'm not really sure which one I like more. I think I like the greens more, and in a minute we'll talk about what the actual differences are between the blues and the greens. And again, I don't think they're actually called blue and green. I think they have fancier names. But overall, I really like these switches. These Akkos are the first, I don't want to say custom switch, but I guess they're the first switch that I've ever really bought and loved, like been able to remember what they are. The packaging is really nice that they come in. There's plenty of videos that show that, but we'll look at that in a minute. You always want to watch it, because if you're not careful, you might bend a pin. So we'll just kind of bend that back. And as long as you're relatively careful, this switch will be okay. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. Sorry for the mess, but what we're looking at now is aqua greens in here, aqua blues in here, and then these are also the blues over here. And these are what the blues look like. I mean, they're switches. So while we're here, let's talk a little bit about the aqua switches themselves. I really like these aqua switches. We got matcha green and ocean blue. I got one set of these on AliExpress, and I got the other set on Amazon. But the pricing is actually really reasonable. So I highly recommend these switches. I'm kind of into the patterns here. We've got tactile versus linear. The blues supposedly are tactile, which I can feel the tactility. I do think I like the linears more, and I've always fancied myself like a tactile guy. But I think I might be linear gang now. Yeah, the blues, there's just a lot more going on in terms of the force travel, whereas with the greens, it's much more straightforward, and the reset point is real close to the operating point. So if you were going to pick up a switch, I'd probably pitch for the greens. Okay, so again, we got the blues on top, greens down below, and because we're lazy, we're going to put these caps back on the board, and then we'll talk a little bit more about the different keycap sets. I'm sure I'm not the first person to have a really hard time with the stabilizers on the MK Pro. Probably my next mod will be replacing those stabs with some Durox or something. Okay, and let's finish out these last few cat profile switches that we have along the side here. One reason I really like the GMMK Pro that I haven't heard anyone talk about is the fact that there's these 4 buttons right here. There are other boards like the Keychron, Q1 something, that has 3. But what are you going to do with 3 buttons over here? I like having home and page up and page down. That allows me when I'm coding to go to, the home or the end, the beginning or end of a file, and to hop through the file pretty quickly. So, my application is productivity and programming, and for that I want to have symmetry over here on this right-hand column. While I'm talking about that, I'll rant a little more about the GMMK Pro. Having the knob, man, I thought I would be really excited about the knob. I just never use it. I never touch it. Maybe that's not the case for everyone. It might be cool to have like a wooden knob, like that would be like a nice accent. But in terms of functionality, I mean, the knob, I don't think you're getting that much out of it. Okay, so since our goal here is to switch up to the greens, since we already know what the blues are like, All right, there we go. And just for fun, I'm using some accent keys here for the corners. So if you look at the profile of this board overall, it's just completely flat. And obviously you can learn this for yourself if you go to the AliExpress site or whatever site you want to go to look at that. The profile on these is totally flat all the way across. That's very different than the cats, which have this much more sophisticated kind of scoop across them. And same with the MT3s. They also have a fairly scooped profile, which we should be able to see somewhere here. Yeah, my biggest frustration with these MT3s is that the renders make them look really shiny, but these are definitely renders. These are not how the keys look in real life. And you can just tell by comparing that to that. So I hope you guys find this helpful when it comes to picking either MT3 or CAT, or maybe just go cheap and get the $35 MA profile. Okay, so let's put these back. We've got our board. We've got 3 rows of Akko greens. We've got 3 rows of Akko greens on the bottom, 3 rows of blues on the top. That's all I really wanted to do today. I just wanted to kind of go through this process and talk a little bit about these different keycaps, what I liked, what I didn't like, and do a comparison, because I haven't really seen a hands-on long-form comparison of these different keycap types. If I was going to do it again, well, I mean, I'm using I guess one question is, why am I using the MAs if I've got these, these really nice MT3s and CAT profiles? For one thing, aesthetically, the MT3s I thought really did not go with the silver Arctic whatever finish on the GMMK Pro. As soon as I put them on, I thought they looked like they looked just dirty. Which probably on any other color board other than silver, or maybe a pure white board, that would be okay. And I thought, white on white, oh, that looks sick. Does not look sick. Sickly, perhaps. So the cats do look better because they're more of a pure white. They look really nice, fairly nice on this board. But since I have the MT3s, since I have the MAs, I thought that the contrast would look really nice. So I do recommend getting a contrasting color if you have the option. What else can we say? MT3s are definitely taller when you look at the profiles. The cats are nice and thick. MT3s are also nice and thick. One thing that we didn't touch on was texture. So if you look at the texture of the different keys, let's take an MT3, a CAT, and we'll toss in an MA, but that's not really what's important about this comparison. So here's the MT3 and the CAT, and I don't know if you can really tell that there's a difference in texture, but the CAT's nice and smooth. The MT3 is significantly more textured, probably more like old school Mac, to be honest, but I think I actually like the smoother texture on the CAT as well. And then just for comparison, here's the cheapy MA texture. I hope that helps. And you can also kind of hear, this is that's the CAT. Just running my finger over the CAT. And then MT3 and MA. So very different textures. In terms of the thickness, I would actually say that the MT3 is a little bit less thick than the Cat. Then of course the MA is going to be the thinnest. But they're all decent. They're all good, you know. It's all good. Okay. Okay, so that about wraps it up for this portion. I just wanted you guys to see the MA keycaps compared with the Cat keycaps, and finally the MT3 keycaps, so you can make a good choice when it comes to the funky styles. I do have some essays. I think they might be fine. But I haven't had them on a board for a long time, and I remember not really liking them for daily drivers, though I'm not really even sure why, so I should probably revisit that. So if this video gets some love, there may be some links in the description. They may be affiliate links. Make a few bucks would be nice, and I've never made any money from any of my videos. Please leave a comment, like, subscribe, share. And I guess let's do a typing test, because no keyboard video would be complete. So we're just plugging in the USB. And again, on the bottom row, which you're not going to be able to tell, and this is silly, but we're doing it anyway. On the bottom, we've got the matcha greens, which are a linear 50 gram forced. On the top 3 rows, we've got the blues. These are tactile 36 gram. So the greens are significantly heavier. Let me just get those in the shot because that could be useful. What is it? Blues on top, green on bottom. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and stay up.